Hi there, welcome back to our channel. Prepare yourself for an extensive exploration into one of the most bold, brutal, and badass heroines to ever grace the post-apocalyptic wasteland on the big screen. We're talking about the one-armed, war-rig-driving, imperator named Furiosa from the Mad Max, Fury Road film. But Furiosa is more than just a striking visual image of a shaven-headed, robotic-armed warrior woman. She is a fully fleshed-out character with an incredibly rich backstory and set of motivations that make her one of the most compelling figures in the entire Mad Max universe. Over the course of this 10,000-word epic, I'll be doing a deep dive into everything Furiosa, drawing from the 2015 film Mad Max, Fury Road, references to her past in the prequel comics, interviews with the creators, and of course, my own analysis. We'll explore her tragic origins, her rise to power in the warboy ranks, her daring rebellion against the tyranny of Immortan Joe, and her emerging relationship with Max Rokitansky himself. But I'll also go beyond just recounting plot points. Using a blend of factual details and speculation, we'll really get into the psyche of this complex anti-heroine. What drove her to turn against her warlord master? How did she develop her incredible skills at vehicular warfare and navigation of the wasteland? And perhaps most intriguingly, what's going on behind those piercing blue eyes? There are hints that Furiosa is harboring some deep inner turmoil and survivor's guilt, which makes her all the more human and relatable. Now I won't be able to directly quote much full dialogue or describe specific scenes due to copyright restrictions. But I can summarize, analyze, and riff off the material. I'll also slip in some wry humor and playful banter here and there to leaven the somber subject matter, because as we'll see, Furiosa could certainly use a chuckle or two amidst all the intense combat and quasi-religious fervor of her world. So tighten your chunky belt, lick that thermos of mother's milk, and let's hit the war rig heading due east across the salt flats. Our destination? A deep examination of the incredible character known only as Furiosa. Background and tragic origins. Even by the harsh standards of the post-apocalyptic wasteland of Mad Max, Furiosa's origins are about as traumatic as they come. As revealed in the comic prequel books, she was born daughter of the Salt before being captured and enslaved by the warlord Immortan Joe's warboy cavalry as a child. In the brutal process of being indoctrinated, Furiosa had her entire clan massacred before her eyes and her own left arm severed. Ouch. But rather than breaking her spirit, this harrowing formative experience seemed to fill Furiosa with an intense determination and fury that she channeled into becoming an imperator, one of Immortan Joe's most elite imperators or lieutenants. She rose quickly through the ranks of the warboys through her ferocity and skill behind the wheel and with weaponry. Furiosa is first glimpsed in Fury Road as the haunted, world-weary driver of one of the massive, war-rig trucks that carries precious supplies of mother's milk, water, and ammunition between Immortan Joe's citadels. With her shaved head, robotic arm, and husky voice, she cuts an imposing figure even among the murderous gangs of the wasteland. There are hints that despite her high rank, Furiosa harbors deep resentment towards her master Immortan Joe and his brutal cult-like rule over the wasteland. When we first meet her, she is already secretly plotting her biggest gambit yet, to defy Joe's orders, take control of her war rig, and attempt to escape across the desolate salt flats with his harem of prized breeding wives. This is our introduction to Furiosa's complex duality. On one hand, she is very much the quintessential hard-as-nails loner warrior in the Mad Max mold. A grizzled road warrior seemingly stripped of all tenderness by the wasteland. But she is also exhibiting the first flashes of her more maternal, protective instincts that will increasingly rise to the surface over the course of her showdown with Joe. As the dramatic chase and battle sequences ensue, we witness Furiosa's incredible skills and resolve in escaping the armed pursuit across the harsh terrain. Her vehicle navigation is second to none, rivaling even Max's own road skills from previous films. She can coax every last drop of speed from the unwieldy war machine, while deftly using its powerful armaments to blast away any vehicle that gets in her path. At the same time, Furiosa exhibits tendencies towards strategic thinking, tactical maneuvering, and even psychological warfare that go beyond just blind demolition derbying. She uses flares and dust clouds for camouflage and misdirection. At one point, she fakes leaving her rig to sneak aboard one of the pursuit vehicles. In another scene, she shoots out the gunner's blind spot to neutralize a foe. There's a level of calculation and cold pragmatism there rare even for the wasteland. Slowly but surely across the course of these harrowing battles, Furiosa's protectiveness toward the sister wives she has liberated becomes undeniable. At first her brusque manner toward them seems to be just another example of her emotional detachment. But as they are bonded through mutual suffering and close calls, Furiosa reveals a more nurturing side that likely seemed long extinguished by the wasteland brutality she's endured. There's a particularly poignant moment when one of the wives named Toast comments in wonderment on how Furiosa retains her humanity when all logic should have stripped it away. "You know, you're gonna actually have to remain childless," Toast marvels. "Because we'll insist on becoming mothers." This resonates on a deep level with Furiosa, tapping into the loss of her own clan as a child. In that instant, this fearsome warrior breaks down, embracing and reassuring Toast in a raw display of compassion and shared pain over the idea of perpetuating human life, something Joe's cult only saw in transactional breeding terms. It's a heartbreaking yet hopeful moment that cements Furiosa's determination to fulfill her mission and deliver the wives to the fabled Green Place, an Edenic sanctuary amidst the desolation that she learned about as a child before being captured. Her quest has become about more than just defying her cruel master. It's about preserving the future of humanity itself. This also stirs Furiosa's previously repressed memories about that lost matriarchal homeland she was ripped from. Little fragments of green trees and water come back to her amidst the delirious road fever that is constantly dancing on the edges of the Fury Road madness. She recalls her pre-slave name, soulful sounds of her mother's voice, and teachings of the ancient, seed keeper, ways of her culture that could restore life to the wasteland. Skills, abilities, and the co-pilot relationship with Max. Speaking of Furiosa's nearly supernatural abilities to navigate and survive in the wasteland, another key facet of her character is her begrudging partnership with Max Rokotansky to stay one step ahead of the marauding warlords. Initially, she regards the haunted loner Max with intense skepticism and wariness. After all, she's known nothing but betrayal her entire life under Immortan Joe's rule. The early scenes show the two hardened road warriors sizing each other up with squints and glares like two scorpions ready to strike. But eventually Max's consistent efforts to protect her and the wives, while also demonstrating his amazing vehicle skills, earn a reluctant measure of trust from the no-nonsense Furiosa. By showing he's willing to put his own life on the line, Max also reawakens Furiosa's nearly extinguished faith in forming alliances and bonds with others. Soon the pair develop an almost unspoken rapport and co-piloting dynamic. While Furiosa is the strategic mastermind and primary operator, Max is her gonzo wingman hanging off the rig's rig-dancing poles to provide defenses or repairs on the fly. He helps clear debris and eliminate pursuing vehicles using his signature shotgun and harpoon skills. The duo almost seem to develop a psychic link at times in anticipating each other's moves across the chaotic battleground. There's an undeniable glorious madness in watching these two wasteland badasses working in brutal tandem to stay one torturous rev ahead of Joe's relentless armada. There you have it. We hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a like and don't forget to subscribe. Until next time.
I want them back!